In this section, we're going to be talking about threats to biodiversity. So, what is threatening biodiversity? Here's a really pretty picture of a frog for you to look at while I talk about this. Um, what happens when a species, like say this frog, cannot adapt fast enough to the changes in its environment? So, the environment changes too fast for this species to keep up. What happens is an extinction. The species basically dies off and goes extinct. There's a normal amount of extinction over time. Here's the word background extinction. Background extinction is the amount of extinction that normally happens just kind of at a natural rate and pace. What scientists are the most worried about is that extinction has really accelerated in the last several years due to human causes. And in fact, the projections are somewhere between 1/3 and 2/3 of all the species that are alive right now will be completely extinct by the time we get to 20 2100. So basically, in the next 80 years, they're expecting 1/3 to 2/3 of all known species that are alive now to be dead. And that is called something called a mass extinction. A mass extinction is like right now we're at 1,000 times the normal background rate. So if species were just naturally dying off, we're 1,000 times higher than that right now, which is too high. So there's been other extinctions, but these all happened because of natural causes, essentially. Um, so here are some different extinctions that have happened recently. You can see that mammals, about 2.1%, have gone extinct since the 1600s that they know of. There could have been more species, but you can see here different percentages. So, factors that threaten biodiversity. Human factors, when they affect, I want to point out this word, human factors, when they affect biodiversity, are called anthropogenic changes. Anthropogenic changes. These are changes that humans make specifically that can affect biodiversity. One of those can be overexploitation. Overexploitation is basically overusing that species or hunting it or whatever. Another one, human change that can affect biodiversity, is habitat loss, habitat fragmentation, introducing invasive species, that's species that don't belong there, climate change, pollution, and there's a lot more. But those are, 5 or 6 anthropogenic changes, human causes that affect extinction. Okay, so a natural resource is a material that's found basically somewhere in the environment on the earth that we can use. So, one question at the end of the chapter asks you how you can reduce the impact of extinction or of like some of these problems that cause extinction. And we're going to talk about those. So, overexploitation, as I already said, is when one species is overused, overhunted, etc., and it's made to its population takes a huge hit because of that. One plant it talks about earlier is a mahogany tree. Mahogany trees take about 100 years to develop good wood, and then we'll just chop it down and make a gorgeous table or bed or whatever out of that wood. So there's more sustainable products that we can use, things that will replace themselves a little more quickly than mahogany wood. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Another thing was passenger pigeons mentioned in your book. That was one species that there were so many of them that they would actually darken the skies with their numbers when settlers first came to the United States. Now they are completely extinct. This is the ocelot. They're gorgeous. They can jump straight up without even taking a single step and go something like 15, 16 feet. They're gorgeous. They're like a very, very large house cat size, and people take them as pets, but they've actually been hunted to near extinction for their pelts because they have such gorgeous, soft fur. The rhinoceros has the northern white rhino has just had their last male die in 2018. And so they will not be able to reproduce any further. Um, so basically, species being overtaken. Here is one that I worked with. This is from the series that was shot while I was in Borneo, called Borneo Jungle Diaries. These were shot in 2017 when I was working at the Danugurang field station in Borneo doing primate research. This is one primate. If you have time to watch it, her name is Boss. She's a slow loris. Slow loris is, I think I actually have a picture of me looking for Boss too. That's not it. Hold on. We'll find it. So Boss basically had, they're just a really pretty, primate. They're very slow moving. This is me looking for Boss with the late radio telemetry. We do this at Safari Park to find desert tortoises, but I was looking for Boss and trying to find her radio collar to see where she was. I was very stressed out that day. There's some pictures of me in about this course, and you can see the stress on my face because we had just found one of these that was in a pile. Her tracker was in a pile of python poop. So she had been eaten by a python and her tracker was there. But Boss was okay this day. But this is a species that is readily taken from the forest and kept as pets. The problem is they actually have a poison gland that they lick near their armpits and can bite you and poison you. So people, when they pull them out of the rainforest, pull out their teeth, which slowly causes them to die. And they pull out their teeth so they can't bite you and get that poison on you. These have never actually successfully been bred like outside of the wild. The only place they've ever bred is in the wild. So no zoo has ever gotten them to breed. No other place has ever gotten them to breed. So if these are ever kept as pets, it's because they were taken from the wild, which is so sad. There's hardly any of them left, but they're gorgeous. They're extremely gentle. So what you can do, like the question in the back of the chapter, to help exploitation of this animal that lives on the other side of the world is don't share social media where people show these as pets. Don't like videos like that. Don't say, oh, that's so cute, I want one. Because even though you won't get one, somebody else can look at that and want the popularity and the likes and the hits, that they might go and do that. But these animals, when they're sold, they have had their teeth ripped out and they are slowly dying and will only last a few months. It's really a sad thing. So another thing is habitat loss. So let me go back to our page. Another thing affecting a threat is habitat loss. And habitat loss, literally the Borneo jungles look exactly like this. And so it's hard for animals to cross. Some animals, say like a turtle, would not be able to cross this to find a mate. So when things are highly fragmented, that really makes it difficult for that animal. So here in Borneo, you can see a map of Borneo. I think it looks like a wolf running with a cape in the 1950s. And here it is in 2020. How much of the rainforest is left? It's almost none of the rainforest. And here was a cool picture. I was talking about that picture with the maps. You can see that there's almost no rainforest left. But this was a picture that was really illustrated well something that I saw with the orangutans. This is an old growth tree, and you can see there's almost no old growth trees left. They've all been cut down for wood. These are different species. They're not just shorter, it's a different species. There's almost no old growth left. And so people, or like an orangutan, will actually have to leave her baby in one tree and then go find a pathway over to here. And once she finds it, she'll go back and retrieve her baby. And then from there, she'll look for the next tree. That's a really difficult way to cross the rainforest. I'm going to pick this up in another video. So you guys are going to have a part 2 of threats to biodiversity.